Southwest Topeka has a good neighbor. State Farm agent Jim Garrison, now at 29th and Urish. If your current insurance situation has you going around in circles, get off the roundabout and stop in and meet Jim and his wonderfully efficient staff. Let Jim Garrison give you a quote and make the Garrison comparison. He's confident that with State Farm's competitive rates, the right coverage, and his unmatched service, you'll want to make him your new insurance agent. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and Jim Garrison is there for you, northeast of the roundabout at 29th and Urish.
When someone has a passion for what they do, it comes through in the product they provide their customers. Just ask LaRocco's Pizza's new owner, Jason Johnson, about their crust. They make it every day and let it rise for a minimum of 24 hours before they use it for their pizza. And his staff doesn't want to do anything they won't be the best at, and you can taste it in their pizza. LaRocco's Pizza, just a half block north of the I-470 and Gage Boulevard exit. Come taste the difference.
It's time for Real Estate 101 with the Karey Brown team from Preferred Advisors.
Good morning, everybody. We are going to be out at the garden show today, so be sure and stop by our booth. We have this really cool spin wheel. I don't guess I get to call it roulette since we're not giving away money, but we're giving away mulch and all kinds of cool stuff. So be sure and stop by the Brown's Tree Service and the EXP Preferred Advisors team booth. We'll be there from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. and on Sunday, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. So be sure and come check it out. Today, I am here with Jennifer Stallbaumer and Rory Chapman. Jennifer is a foster parent, and Rory is with Loan Depot. Jennifer, I know whenever I was talking with Lance over the weekend, we were talking about the need for foster care, parents, people to step up and volunteer and get involved. And so can you tell us, first off, I know that you're a foster parent. Tell us about your journey into that.
Well, my husband, Brad, and I started fostering about 6-7 years ago, and it was a complete accident. Our daughter had a friend who was in need of a place to stay temporarily, and we started that process. So it was just an accident for us. We didn't intentionally seek it out. Just came upon us, and we
decided that, I think that's how a lot of things happen. You've got quite a bit of experience in psychology, and tell us what you do for a living.
So I graduated from Washburn University, my bachelor's in science and criminal justice, and my minor in psychology. I've been working around educators for over 20 years. My husband has been a teacher for over 25 years. He's the senior instructor for the Marine Corps JRTC over at Topeka High School. So we have a long relationship with the youth in the community.
So when it comes to foster care, do you know how many, what the need is for foster care in Shawnee County?
There are 718 Shawnee County children in foster care. When you take into the account the children that are being cared for by relatives and other familiar caregivers, there are about 460 children who require the care of a licensed family. But Kansas only has 169 licensed foster homes in the county, and most of those foster homes are presently full. It is important for us at KVC to try to keep foster children in their school districts and home communities to minimize the disruptions in that child's life during their time of crisis. But to achieve that, we need the public's help.
That's definitely a huge number. 460 children and only 169 places to place them. That's incredible. What circumstances tend to lead a children to being placed in foster care?
There are many reasons why children are placed in foster care in Kansas. The most common reasons are physical neglect, abuse, and substance abuse. Most of the youth in foster care will one day be safely reunited with their families. When a court determines it is not safe for a child to return home, then the goal becomes adoption by a loving family.
And that process is it typically long, or does it matter case by case?
I think it's case by case. The situations my husband and I have been involved in are very long, generally 18 to 24 months.
So you said that your daughter's friend needed foster care. So that's what prompted you to get into foster care. What's it been like? What are the most rewarding parts of it?
When you can be a part of the reunification piece working, when the biological parents are given the resources, they do try. They do want to see their children back in their homes. And to just watch that process and to become friends with those biological parents and to help them on their life journey to become successful parents. Because the reality is most children are in foster care due to generations. Their parents were probably in foster care. And to watch it really work is extremely rewarding. And to have those children come back or those parents come back to you years later and invite them, to their weddings or, it can be a very rewarding experience.
And you made a real difference, I'm sure.
We hope so.
So what are the most difficult parts of being a foster parent?
Watching it fail. We kind of look at foster care as a great big pie, and we have one slice of it, and that's to care for that child. And to watch things crumble and have to teach that child that, yes, this happened to them, the two people that conceived them and gave them life or have failed, but that doesn't mean society is giving up on you. And there are many, many, hundreds and thousands of people, good adults, who do care about you and want to watch you succeed. Don't let being a foster kid define your life journey. And teaching them that every day and giving them hope to go to college, become a productive member of society, not let their anger and their frustration, teach them that all adults don't do that there are a lot of people who love them and care about them, and that's very difficult every day to convince them that it's going to be okay.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, just in the typical child's life nowadays, and I've been doing junior achievement with a seventh grade class out at Shawnee Heights, and I'm more of a keep it real kind of person, so I make them communicate with me just to try and pull them out of their shells, because I know how hard it is to be bashful and shy. But imagine going through all that turmoil at home. And we talked about being a bully and things like that, because unfortunately some people don't grow out of that. But at the same time, whenever you're young and you have to process all of that on top of what's going on at home, and and I said, raise your hand if being bullied has ever affected you, and the whole class raised their hand. Mm-hmm. And I said, guys, it's not okay. You don't know what's going on in their life. You've got to be thinking about, what are you going to do next? What if you run across that person again? And are things that have been said to you and done to you at your age, do you think you're going to remember that for the rest of your life? And they all raise their hand. It's so important to look at the whole person. And I think that, for the kids, it was really trying to encourage them to stop and think, because they just don't know what their classmates going through. Not having that steady home, not knowing exactly what's coming next. And then you've got some kid that, just thinks it's fun to pick on you. So I think that in general, the community in itself should really look at educating their kids and making sure that they're not a part of the problem, or helping them to learn how to be a part of making it better.
Well, and we've noticed, foster children, unfortunately, they come into the schools. They don't come in at normal times. They don't show up in August like all the other kids. They haven't attended school since kindergarten with the majority of the class. So they come into the school, and it's very difficult for them to make friends, because maybe they've bounced around. They've sofa surfed. They can't find a placement. They've been disrupted on. They could be, sometimes when children arrive in our home, they're on their 95th placement.
Oh, wow.
And you're looking at that child and they're 13 years old, and you think, how is this possible? So helping them make friends at school, and sometimes it's a struggle for me, just as the parent, to convince other parents who I don't know, yes, this is a foster child, she didn't pick it. Children aren't born and decide, I think it's going to be cool to be a foster kid.
Right.
They don't do that. And so to convince society that, yes, this foster child is getting on the bus. No, your child is not going to know them. Please reach out to them. They want friends. They want to get invited to those birthday parties. They want to have friends to go skating with and go bowling with. And it's heartbreaking, to watch, yes, you're in the 2nd grade. Yes, I know so-and-so had a birthday party this weekend, and not to get invited. It's okay, that they're, just because, everyone assumes, they're a foster child and they have a rough life. Yes, let's change that. Society, get involved. Reach out to that child. And it's just it's very kind for teachers and staff members at the schools to embrace those children and care about them and ask about them and see them out in the community and, ask them about what's going on. What do they like to do? Because the child may not even know. No one's ever asked them that. So.
Right. And, I think anymore, social media, like we were talking about in junior achievement, they have so much pressure, coming at them from all different angles. And social media, I don't believe, helps at all because they're constantly comparing themselves to one another. When really, I like the way we grew up. The only reason why we knew anything was going on with somebody is because they told us, not because social media decided to air it out, right. Or, and we talked to each other. And I think kids in general, it's harder to hang out there and not know, and then they draw into the shell because they're so used to that technology and stuff. It's really important to teach your kids to start talking and be compassionate and get to know people. I think just reaching out to someone that's going through all of that. I've had, even growing up, and I had kids that I grew up with that were in foster care. We never treated them any different. You're right. They didn't pick that. Mm-hmm. So how can people get involved and help KVC?
KVC offers free training and support for interested families. Those interested in becoming nurturing, dependable foster parents can visit the website at www.kvckansas.org. If you are looking to become a foster parent, volunteer, or would like to make a donation, call the Shawnee County Community Resource Specialist at 785-207-3403.
And KVC represents one of the broadest child welfare and behavioral health care continuums of care in the nation. They help over 12,000 Kansas children and their families each year through prevention services and family prevention, foster care case management, family reunification services, adoption, outpatient behavioral health, and more. They are the leading agency for the Kansas Department of Children and Family Kansas City Metro and East regions. KVC is driven by the best interests of children and family and has helped Kansas achieve national leadership in child welfare standards set by the Federal Child and Family Services. So, again, if you want to get involved, check out the website kvckansas.org. And again, the number is 785-207-3403. We'll be right back after this break.
When someone has a passion for what they do, it comes through in the product they provide their customers. Just ask LaRocco's Pizza's new owner, Jason Johnson, about their crust. They make it every day and let it rise for a minimum of 24 hours before they use it for their pizza. And his staff doesn't want to do anything they won't be the best at, and you can taste it in their pizza. LaRocco's Pizza, just a half block north of the I-470 and Gage Boulevard exit. Come taste the difference.
Thanks for joining us again. This is Karey Brown. You're listening to Real Estate 101. We are going to be out at the home show today from 10 to 7 and tomorrow from 11 to 5, so be sure and stop by our booth. It'll be myself, our EXP Preferred Advisors team, and Brown's Tree Service. We have this really cool spin wheel. You can win some mulch and all kinds of stuff, so be sure and stop by and check that out. I am back with Jennifer Stallbaumer. She is a foster parent here in Topeka. And Rory Chapman, she is with Lone Depot. And Rory, you had some questions for Jennifer.
I did. So can a single parent become a foster parent? Or are there any rules when it comes to being a foster parent?
Absolutely. Single parents can definitely become foster parents. Any adult, I believe it's over the age of 21, can call KVC and inquire about becoming a foster parent. There are Department of Children's Families does have regulations for the home, general safety guidelines. Mm-hmm. But any community member can reach out to become an interested foster parent. Absolutely.
Okay. And then I was also wondering, how many kids can one household have? Is there stipulations on that?
There are. There's state regulations for every foster home. It depends. They go by square footage. Every child needs a bed, mm-hmm. and so much living space for their personal belongings naturally. So I think it just would depend on the regulations. I believe no more than 4 for a licensed foster home is my understanding. Mm-hmm. But it just depends on the size of your house and what you want. It's your home.
Yeah.
So you steer that ship.
How many kids have you guys fostered?
Over the years, hundreds and hundreds.
Oh, wow.
There were just, sometimes they just come for a night.
Oh.
Sometimes they're just, an emergency care, and they're going to be reunited with some biological family members, in a few days. Mm-hmm. So, but, we have several girls that have stayed a long time, a couple of years.
Do you get attached to them?
Absolutely.
I would be concerned I wouldn't be able to let them go.
Absolutely. You do. And you, the court system has an interested party status. If the child lives in your home for over 6 months, you can become an interested party and be granted that by the court. So you'll always know. You can always inquire. The court's then legally obligated, as that child's on his or her journey, you'll be notified. So it's a very rewarding experience. But it's a path. It's an experience. The justice system is a interesting wheel that turns for these children.
So tell us about some of the children that you've helped.
Oh, my goodness. They're so special. We've had one little girl for over 2.5 years now. And we've been able... You get to enjoy those milestones. Sometimes they've never gone bowling. They've never been inside a movie theater. We've been allowed to take some of our foster children out of state. And you can show them the ocean for the first time. Or you can show them how to canoe for the first time. There's a lot of children that have just things we do in our daily lives, like go through a drive-through. They don't know how to experience that. Walk in a store. Some children have been taught to shoplift. So teaching them they don't have to do that. They're always going to have food. Some children have had a lot of poverty, come from a lot of sad situations. So teaching them that there's going to be food in the cupboard and they don't have to hide it in their blankets at night. Those are huge milestones for kids. The tooth fairy comes. That's never happened. So it's...
Wow. You think about all the things that your kids are used to having and they have no experience with it. That's their first brand new pair of shoes. Their first brand new winter coat. And nobody's going to take it. Those are just some experiences that we've had, convincing them that, now that's your book bag. Yeah.
It'll be here when you wake up.
So just to be safe.
Exactly.
So you've been doing this how many years again?
About almost 7 years.
7 years and over hundreds. What's the youngest child that you've fostered?
So we don't go below age 8. We go through 8 to 18. I have not had any experience with babies because I know I would, like you were discussing earlier, I would become attached to that baby, and I would, so we don't. My husband and I don't care for infants, but there are a lot of families who do, and God bless them. But not me.
Yeah. I don't know that we could go back to not sleeping.
Exactly. I could. Well, and no.
Just no. Oh, I imagine that would be difficult. And you're right. I couldn't. I love babies way too much. I would have too hard of a time giving them back.
Well, and then it goes back to why is that baby in foster care? Well, I believe that most of the babies that are in foster care are born because of a drug addiction from the mother. So then you have a crying baby. And that is, my understanding, is very difficult. It's a very painful cry. And it's just something that we have chosen not to do. But that's part of the process. Through these MAP classes that KVC offers that are complimentary, you can discover that. What types of children you think you're going to be able to foster? Babies, boys. The
foster parent can say, I can't do infants because of whatever reason, but they can kind of state that to where they go to, a fitting home.
Absolutely. And you don't, KVC, the state of Kansas, no one will ever call me and ask me to take an infant. No one will ever call and ask for us to take a boy. Because you're driving that ship. Through that MAP class experience what you're capable of caring for. And that's what the state does respect that.
Mm-hmm. And it won't be beneficial for the child if you're not the best one.
Absolutely. It'll just be another disruption and more chaos for that child.
And you say boy, is that because you have daughters at home?
So we decided, but due to the layout of our home, we just felt that it would be best to only have girls. Teen girls has been a focus. That seems to be a good match for us as a couple. So every foster parent gets to decide how their home is going to look, and so it's very beneficial for both the child and the foster parent. Causes a lot less movement.
That makes sense. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much for coming on and talking about it. One more time, I wanted to give you guys the information on how to get a hold of KVC. The website is www.kvckansas.org. And you can also reach out and call them at the Shawnee County Community Resource Specialist at 785-207-3403. And Jennifer, it's amazing what you guys have done. I can't imagine hundreds of children coming through my home. I get attached really easily, so that's amazing and so inspirational.
Well, get on board.
Yeah,
let's get you in there. Go through that MAP class.
So, Roy, we need to talk about tax refunds.
Yes, ma'am.
How can they help buyers get into a house?
Well, so it is tax time, and a lot of people will be getting tax refunds, and it may take a little bit longer because of the government shutdown and the possibility of it shutting down again. However, you can always put that tax refund to good use as a down payment for a house. We have FHA programs that allow 3.5% down, and for some first-time home buyers with good credit scores, you can get a conventional at 3% down. So we have those available, and the refund can go to that. If you don't know how much you're getting back yet, people usually know an approximate amount if their status hasn't changed in the last year. And, we can get that process going now. You can fill out the application, and we can guesstimate your refund amount and kind of get you pre-approved based on that, and just go from there. And then once you get your actual refund, we can adjust depending on if you got more or less than what you were wanting or what you were thinking about getting. So it's definitely something to go ahead and start looking into now. You can give me a call to fill out the application, 785-249-5496. Or you can just go to my website at loandepot.com/Rory Chapman. And that's spelled RORICHAPMAN.
And we will be hosting a buyer workshop. Location still to be determined, but it'll be March 7th, and our plan is to do that the first Thursday of each month from 6 to 8. And in the buyer's workshop, we are going to go into detail about what it takes to buy a house. And it won't just be a bunch of fluff. We're going to talk about what you need to know through the process. Myself and Vern Jarbo put together a document whenever I first opened my brokerage, because I always felt bad that a buyer only really got to know what was going on in buying a home when they were sitting down to buy the home. So they were not able to just give you our contracts because they're the property of our MLS. So what we did is we went through and we highlighted the sections and broke them down, what you need to know, how you can be very, very prepared, so that you're not flying blind whenever you sit down and write an offer. So we'll be going through that. Rory will be going through. Tell them, I shouldn't talk for you. You tell them what you'll be going through.
Well, my manager is going to come down and help us out. His name is David Lurvey. He's been on your show before.
Yes.
And, but we're going to talk you through the entire application process. We get so many questions from people during their first home buying process that they just don't understand why we need certain documents, or how we figure income, or why we can't use certain income, things like that. And just kind of, walk you through it and what we'll need and what to expect from the whole thing on our end, and just answer any questions you have. We'll be there to answer them.
So it'll be very, very informative. It won't be, like I said, a bunch of fluff just to get you in the door to try and recruit you as a buyer. We have buyers agents on the team, but if they're not the fit for you, then they're still not. You should still know what's going on. Yeah. So we definitely want you to come out. We will be announcing it on our Facebook page, so be sure and watch that. We do them as events. So even if you can't make the first one, just go in and like our page, which is Preferred Advisors Team. There's an EXP logo in the photo so that you know that you've got the right one. And then that way you'll always know when they're coming on, because they happen our plan is to have them every first Thursday of every month from 6 to 8. And we will be announcing where each month. Mm-hmm. We had to cancel the first one because, of course, it iced over. Yeah. So we didn't want anybody getting hurt on the way in or out. So we will be doing that again. But also, be sure and check us out at the home show. The garden show. Wrong show. That's next month. The garden show will be there from 11 to 7 today, and tomorrow 11 to 5. We do have a couple of tickets to give away, so if you go out to my Facebook page and tell me you want some, I think I have 3 left. I can put those at the informational desk, so just check out Karey Brown, Preferred Advisors Team. Tell me you want some, and I'll be sure and put them out for you. And be sure and check out our website at www.preferredadvisorsteam.com. We have every house that is on the market in all of Northeast Kansas that is actually on the participating MLSs, which is Kansas City, Lawrence, Topeka, and Manhattan. And we actually listed 146 properties this week in Manhattan. So if you are looking for investment properties in Manhattan, be sure and check that out. We have a ton, all within, not all, but the majority within 5 miles or less of Kansas State University, and the majority of those being less than 2 miles. So we have a little bit of everything from nursing home to warehouses, everything else. So check us out, preferredadvisorsteam.com. And Facebook is Preferred Advisors Team 2. Thanks for listening to Real Estate 101.
Thank you for listening to Real Estate 101 with the Karey Brown team from Preferred Advisors.